Good morning. A lot of you guys might recognise this fella's face. His name's Tommy Robinson. His real name's Lennon. It's an Irish name from Southern Ireland. He's been vilified and jailed and threatened with bombings and shootings for many, many years because he dares to criticise the behaviour of a certain ideology's men. Now, I don't think I can name the ideology, but I think you'll already know what I'm talking about. I mean, he was actually falsely jailed in 3 or 4 hours for daring to stand outside Leeds Crown Court and got a little bit of footage of some paedophiles, a paedophile ring. Obviously, I mean, these paedophile rings were accused at the time, but they have since been found guilty and sent to court. The Huddersfield grooming gang, and there weren't just the 20 publicised here, there was actually 77 of them. Yes, and last year there were 72 that were also jailed. But this is just, as Tommy said in his Leeds Crown Court interview and subsequent arrest, this is the tip of the iceberg. There's hundreds and hundreds of them. This is what he said. I'll put a link to these articles so you can see for yourselves. This character here apparently changed his ideology later on, but he was actually found guilty of 54 offences, if I'm not mistaken. And it's not the only case, they're ongoing, you see. It's endemic in the UK because their ideology says they can do this. It really does. I've read it. I've read this dubious, savage, genocide-filled book called The Cube. And believe me, it's full of racism and hate. It really is. As President Trump rightly said in the past. And nice to see him over in Normandy, in England, speaking. The new haters, they've always hated us because the hate is written in their book. They must not be our friends. They must invade us, enslave us, chop our heads off, the lot. All the way through this unholy book, as I call it. He calls us kafir, which is like the N-word. It's worse than the M-word. We're calling us N's. The famous N-word, infamous N-word. But it's actually much worse because they call us, quote, kafir are, quote, the lowliest of beasts. So basically, it's comparing President Trump, Tommy Robinson, Theresa May, or Jeremy Corbyn, or everybody in the West that doesn't follow this ideology as a slave, which is how do you follow it really? It's submission. It means submission, not peace. You've got to submit to Islam, to this ideology. And here we see is, I mean, some of these offences probably from a few years ago. But as you see, they've been inbreeding for 1450 years, just like the Prophet did. He actually, had relations with his cousin and had cousins and probably sisters. And they're allowed to do this in this ideology, believe it or not. These are some of the ugly mugs. You quite often notice inconsistencies like this guy. You can see that left eye isn't, it's much closer to his nose than that. This is as a result of marrying your cousins. And frequently, there's a lot of children die, unfortunately, in the likes of Bradford and London now. There's a hell of a lot of children die at birth. I can't even pronounce the name, what they call it. But it is a fact. We are doing this all over the country. And indeed, they've been doing it for 24 years. At least, 25 years to my knowledge. I used to work at a place next door, but one to a kebab house. And these were Turkish illegals. And there was another shop just further down the road. They were Iraqi refugees. Yeah, sure they were refugees, yeah. And they were also abusing our girls, just like their prophet did. And the only two people that's ever spoke about this, been brave enough to speak about this, or criticise this certain ideology, is Tommy. And also Paul Golding's gang, Britain First. I mean, they're working tirelessly. They've had terrible bail restrictions put on this man. And, basically the CPS are trying to scare them off. But these gangs, despite having some various race members, this gang are always called racist and evil, but the actual fact, we're just trying to oppose this relentless mosque building, they are built with Saudi Arabian and Qatar money. These are the countries where this ideology started from, which does still tell them to enslave us, and enslave us for their god, this mystical alpha god. And as we know, their prophets in the 7th century, where there wasn't a patch on Jesus, to be honest. He was very poor prophets. He was a type of prophet that cut people's throats, attacked little boys, attacked loads of little girls, and took a dump in the street. Yeah, he took a dump in the street, and a wee in the street, facing one of our holy sites. I mean, and one of the worst things you can do in this ideology is not to do your ablutions, not to do your washing. They start off at the feet, I think, and they finish off with their hands in the face. Well, if you don't do this, going to their, temples, that kind of, it's considered extremely filthy. Well, their false prophets actually did this. He got out of bed yawning. His 6-year-old bride, 6-year-old, and rumour has it he was having relations with her when she was 6, living in his house. Well, put it this way, if he wasn't having sexual relations with her, he was having them with about 60 other children, because it's in their book. He had at least 66 sex slaves, concubines to call them, nicely. This article is about when that bully, that Syrian refugee family bully, actually got some water poured over him. And the stupid fake news media raised, was it £140,000, saying he'd been waterboarded. This bully that's been going around the school in Huddersfield, threatening to stab all the girls, calling them white slags and everything, which is documented. And they even got a solicitor to try and sue him. And it was, here we go. Fark Bajat and Sons, 45 Charles Street, Mayfair, London, yeah, Facebook, yeah. Here we go, here's the fella, Mohammed. Yeah, this is the fellow that Paul Golding actually confronted in the street, and he was shivering and shaking like a jelly. And this is the guy who's making loads of money after refugee problems, as did Sadiq Khan. Sadiq Khan, also Mayor of London, made loads of money, getting money off the British government to protect some of these lowlifes, and some of them are, certainly. We can see majority of the gangs, of the sex gangs, do consist of this ideology. There's Sharon, who I've met. I'll just to show open-mindedness, there has been the odd white grooming gang, and I will show you them just to show you they do exist, but they're very much in the minority. Statistics from jailed convicts does show that 91% of these perverts are indeed do indeed follow a certain ideology. But just to show even-mindedness, pardon, very good at the keyboard. Just to show you that we're not trying to say all our attackers belong to this ideology. Just a great deal of them. Here we are. I'm sure there'll be a few white guys here. There's Home Secretary. He's warned us that it's all over the country. Yeah, our Home Secretary, because he knows this ideology. You see. There we go. Here we are. There are a few. There we are. Sexual grooming. There are a few white grooming gangs, but they're very much in the minority. You see, the majority of paedophiles jailed in the UK for years, obviously, tend to be white, because it's 91% or 90% white UK. But when they attack these victims, they'll attack one or two victims, get caught and get jailed. But the thing is, the police have been hiding this for years. I mean, more than 700 women and girls were raped around Newcastle. It's been going on for years. They've been ignoring the girls' pleas, ignoring the parents' complaints, because it's all a religion of peace, isn't it? They're all supposed to be beautiful people. Even this very gay girl that really joined in with it. I mean, I don't know if she was just facilitating it, or she was up above the kebab houses and the taxi offices, but she got jailed with them. So the thing is, since Tommy Robinson case, they're not publicising them. There's been no publicised big grooming gangs. But I read an article that there's been approaching 150 men who presently are being processed through the courts and being jailed at massive expense. But the judges won't take off reporting restrictions to hide it, because obviously this reinforces Tommy's and everybody else's in Britain First truth, the fact that it's ongoing. They've been doing it for decades, and we're just hiding it now. But we know it's still going on. I mean, there's a case up by me in the northwest. My partner told me about Ashton in Makerfield on the way to Wigan, and there's been plenty of girls been groomed around there. Again, the usual thing, just eat kebab shops. So when Tommy Robinson and Britain First are telling you the truth, But these people are still doing it. They are very racist. They are very hateful. You better believe it, because as President Trump says, they seem to hate us. They seem to have hated us forever. Okay, I'll call that a day, guys. But please go on Britain First website or TR News, and you can read about some of the articles. And as we know, they're all being censored now. There's whole channels with 50,000 subscribers just being wiped. No reason given, because these far left, Marxist extremists in Silicon Valley, in London, and what have you, in this liberal bubble, don't want to admit it's still going on. Where Tommy Robinson's been based, Luton, where he's from. I've worked in Luton years ago, and it was looking like Pakistan then. And you can imagine how many sexy gangs are knocking around. So if you want to go on here, these guys, they always call these guys like racist and Nazis, but actually the ideology they oppose is deeply, deeply Nazi, deeply hateful. It has hated us forever, since 620 AD, actually. And believe you me, it's not fiction. It's not fiction. It's just the fact that they know you don't know where to find their holy book and haven't read a word of it. Well, I have. Tommy Robinson has. Paul Golding has. Even old Jada had. They knew all about it. Enough about it to know that it's an absolute savage ideology, this certain ideology. So have a look at these websites and look into it yourselves.
I'm Sharon, I'm a life member with Britain First, and I'm a committed activist. What's involved in being an activist? Well, for me, my role is meeting most Saturdays with Britain First. We visit lots of towns, lots of cities, we set up in the city centre and we hand out leaflets. It could be a leaflet just informing people what we're about and giving them the facts of what Britain First are about on the back.
Which is basically pro-Christian based. You don't have to be Christian to join us. You can be Hindu or Jewish or anything. You can be any colour, any race, any sexuality, as long as you want to make this country safer for our kids. Because the way it's looking now, it's looking like a disaster zone, isn't it? We're second-class citizens in our own land. So have a look at these Patriots. You won't find any really hateful stuff. Certainly not as hateful as the as the rape gangs, which have been attacking our girls for at least 30 years, we know. Okay, see you guys. Bye-bye.